A-D-N.
It's HeadphonesNeil!
What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of HeadphonesNeil Reviews. I'm your host, as always, HeadphonesNeil, bringing you a very exciting episode for this week, compared to previous weeks, just because of the update of news that I got last week, shortly after last week's episode. So if you're on the YouTube channel regularly, then you may have already seen it, but now that it's pretty much in place, I thought I would give the update in full. So look out for that at the end of the episode as a recap. But in the meantime, I wanted to get through the usual bits of updates and reviews and all of that usual stuff. So to start it off, a little bit before this episode, I got into the inkling to rewatch Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. It's been a while, and I just kind of wanted to see how it holds up after all this time. So I got to thinking that I would start with the rewatch of the TOS series or episode Space Seed, where we're first introduced to Khan, and then Wrath of Khan deals with the continuation of that story arc. And overall, Space Seed holds up as a very good episode, aside from things like the look and feel of the time, but overall, as far as the acting and story and all the key bits of stuff go, it was a very good episode as far as Kirk learning about who Khan is, Khan trying to figure out his new environment, his concern for his crew and all that. But something that never stood out to me, or something I never noticed before, about why I like the episode, is how Khan's acting generally works. And that's because this time around, and maybe it's because I recently did rewatch the 1931 Dracula, but the mannerisms, the voice, the look and feel, the lighting, and all of that on Khan was very reminiscent of what we see in Dracula. It's a slow, even paced. We don't see Bela Lugosi as Dracula get angry for the most part. I don't actually, for that matter, at all in the film. He does get mad when he throws the mirror down on the floor when Van Helsing points the mirror at him, and we kind of get a similar thing there when, I'm also trying not to confuse the TV show with the film, but we don't necessarily see in the episode that Khan gets angry, except for when he's fighting with Kirk, when he does a little bit with the crewman lady, the historian, when he tells her, like, okay, well, make up your mind, either come or go, but don't be so indecisive, and things like that. So all of that slow measured pace, though, was a very much a mirror image of what we see through Bela Lugosi in the 1931 Dracula. So for me, the episode still holds up for that, and now that I can't unsee it, it's one of those things where it just makes it that much better as an episode. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go into rewatching The Wrath of Khan, so I'll have that review for everybody up next week. But I kind of wanted to put it out there that I've done that so far, so that's kind of where I'm going with that. Otherwise, I didn't really watch too much. I've been thinking about doing a watch through of the Big Bang Theory from start to finish, but there's a whole number of seasons and a lot of episodes per season. But granted, it's only like 20 minutes per episode, so even for a traditional show like Psych, or even if you want to compare it to like Game of Thrones, it's 3 episodes for the same length as a regular TV show episode. So even though it's like 20 seasons or whatever, it's really only a third of that. So I'm thinking about doing that, but that's neither here nor there. I have continued my rewatch or my gameplay of Grand Theft Auto. So overall, it's a good story. We're now done with the Angel Pine story arc. To the point where, now that, because CJ had to escape Los Santos, and then he hides out in the Angel Stone Whetstone area, So once you move on from there, you you burn down the marijuana fields, and now we escape out to San Fierro to build up the shop, the garage, and then we meet up with characters like Woozy and Jizzy. So I'm actually looking forward to the replay of that section just because I enjoyed that, and that's kind of where my prior gameplay ended, so kind of looking forward. So once I'm done with San Fierro, then we're going to move into further maps of the game. So I think it's the one after that, so I was looking forward a little bit. So I guess it's called the desert area or something like that, or the Tierra Robada. So looking forward into some of that. I can't wait to get into that stuff and further stuff into the games to see how the story plays out. But regardless, the Angel Pine stuff was a fine stepping stone into the stopover between Los Santos and San Fierro. So I enjoy the look and feel of Los Santos, and Angel Pine was okay. It was kind of just a mountain countryside area, so I kind of want to see how they redid the textures and colors and all that for San Fierro to see if they made it more bright and vibrant and that sort of thing like you would see in the San Francisco area. But that being said, I don't really have much else to say. I mean, I enjoyed the San Fierro stuff, and this is kind of getting ahead of myself. I did enjoy the San Fierro stuff the first time, just with all the Woozy stuff, the missions, Jizzy B, the car tutorial, and all of that stuff. So look out for all of that. And so to round out this week's set of reviews, I did have a chance to watch this week's trilogy of Andor episodes, and overall it was very good. We get a further story arc with Saw Gerrera, so we see him in, to me, what looks like the base on Yavin 4. And so it looks like he was ultimately there. He had him and his crew set up a base there, and then they abandoned it, presumably to go to gather more crew and then somehow end up at Jeddah. So I'm kind of curious to see how they make that transition. But I'm kind of wondering now if we're going to see something along the lines of, because they said something along the lines of the Empire knows about them or what they're doing, or like they had some, because of that leak of that one guy that was being trained on the radio or the equipment or whatever. So I figure at some point between the rebels setting up their base on Yavin 4 and the events of this episode, that the Empire saw that the base was abandoned and they moved on, that they just barely missed them or whatever. Or if it's kind of like the Empire Strikes Back thing, where that admirals or the fleet tells the hierarchy that the guy died, so it's presumably wildlife. Yavin 4 is a wild moon, so he got killed, so that's why they no longer received the transmissions or something like that. So they never actually checked it out, and the base itself was kept hidden. So it's one of those things where I do hope that we get a little bit of explanation as far as how the rebels were able to use Yavin 4, especially with that spy in the midst of Saw Gerrera's clan. Or is that something that they were hinting at when Mon Mothma was telling Jin that Saw's rebels had a different plan in mind and they were too forward? That was this part of it, that Saw's actions caused them to break off because of things like this, like their bases kept getting found out by the Empire, so they had to sever connections or something like that. So that stuff was good. And then we have Mon Mothma dealing with the party and smoozing to keep her cover and all that. And then Luthen there with the art gallery, and them ultimately meeting up with director Krennic, who shows up at the party to see some of those novelty items. And I thought that was also a pretty good sequence. I couldn't quite get a read on if he was believing what was going on, if he suspected anything, or if he didn't suspect anything at all, and he was truly curious, or he was just trying to get a read on who all these people are, what was going on, who Mon Mothma's friends are, and all of that. So I'm kind of hoping that we do get a update as far as what happens, or is he going to suspect to put something on Mon Mothma and check her allegiances with Luthen and whatever that receptionist lady is, and maybe that's how we see the end of Luthen, is because Krennic finds out about them. So or maybe he taps into Luthen and kidnaps him like he did with Galen and has Luthen get some of the equipment needed to finish off the Death Star plans because they need some of the equipment from relics that are no longer made, no longer available, or anything like that. So there's that, and then we have the side stuff with Cassian and Bix that she's still suffering from the nightmares of when she was captured by the Doctor, and that's why the end of episode 6 was particularly refreshing, because they find out where he's living, and she puts the equipment on him, essentially from what it looks like turned it up to max, and left him to rot, and then they explode the apartment and all of that, and then they escape. So kind of help Bix resolve her past and what happened with all of that stuff so that she can move forward and continue or go back to helping the rebels and the rebellion fight back. So I thought that was particularly refreshing, so I can't wait to see what we get from that. So that's all there is for that. And while I was talking, I also thought that I would take a look and confirm how many episodes are in the season, and there are actually 12 episodes, so we're about halfway through the season now. So we have next week's set of 3 episodes, and then the series finale, or series and season finale, will be the week after. So they're continuing just sets of 3 episodes, so a good progression, plenty of room to breathe with all of these episodes and story arcs and all of that. So we see all the different factions. So while the story does revolve around Cassian, we do get to see all the stuff happening with Luthen and Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera. And I am going to presume that the rest of the season is going to probably focus more on the Empire side, or at least the final trilogy of episodes will be on the Empire side or something like that. So we get to see how it ties into the Death Star plans. And I'm hoping kind of at some point and this is what I'm going to tie into my net thing about the recasting of Bail Organa, that they couldn't get Jimmy Smits because they wanted to save the budget on bringing in maybe a Darth Vader character, a Tarkin character, a Palpatine, or something like that, to the point where they want to tie in Andor Season 1 to Rogue One. And so they need to bring in, someone like a Galen Erso. And so whether they bring in that actor or somebody else, or they even bring in Bodhi, the actor who played Bodhi, because they're going to probably want to show how Galen hired Bodhi to escape with the Death Star plans in the cargo ship and escape with the plans, show all the stuff from the Empire side for the Death Star plans and all of that stuff. So I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do, or how they're going to handle that, how they're going to tell that story. Is it going to be a split between the next set of 3 episodes and the 3 episodes after that? Is the final 3 episodes going to be all about the Empire side, or how that's all going to play out? But I'm super curious to see where they go with that, with all of these time jumps with the 1 year in each set of episodes. So we'll see how all of that goes, but I'm super intrigued to see how they make that connection by the end of the series. But yeah, as far as Bail Organa goes, for me, on one hand, I kind of want to see what they do with that actor, but my main problem is that he doesn't look anything like Jimmy Smits' character as Bail Organa. So it's like, okay, well, what changed between episode 3? I don't remember seeing him in season 1, but what happened between episode 3 and Rogue One that he lost half his weight and then gained it back or whatever? But yeah, it's a weird thing, because until they said Bail Organa, I wouldn't have guessed that was him. So for me, that was kind of just a random bit of casting to have that guy there. I was like, well, at least find some guy who looks kind of like Jimmy Smits, because you have a character that's established with that look and role. But I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt to the point where that's why I think they're saving the budget and story, that it's not going to be focused on him. Because they spent all this time on Mon Mothma, that they're not going to focus as much time on him. And the final 6 episodes, at some point, we're going to have a bigger character reveal. I figure through Tarkin and Vader, and they're going to deal, and maybe even the budget with Galen Erso, that they're going to have him, or all 3, or maybe even just Tarkin and Galen Erso, that casting is of bigger focus, to have their story arcs intertwined here. That Bail Organa's story arc isn't as important. It's more focused on, you know, the Kenobi series, or maybe even the Ahsoka series. No, she wouldn't be in Ahsoka, but in the Kenobi series, they're focused more on something along those lines. So with that being said, that's what I said. Like, I don't like the casting, but I'm also giving them the benefit of the doubt to see how they handle it. And at the end of the season, depending on how they ended, then I'll make my final decision that, well, was it just stunt casting to have a name drop there, or did they purposefully do that to give more screen time and real estate and all of that and effort into other characters and story arcs? So that's all there is for this set of reviews and updates and all of that stuff. So as I mentioned, next week's review will include Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and then the continued gameplay for Grand Theft Auto, and the continuing watch through of Andor Season 2. But in the meantime, the bit of good news that I wanted to share is thanks to everyone who's subscribed to the YouTube channel, that I am now part of the YouTube Partners Program. So what that allowed me to do is set up a couple of features or things that are part of that program. So you can now become a member of the channel. I did a simple one-tier setup. I didn't want to do anything complicated, but I did want to have a way to say thank you for being a subscriber. So you can now subscribe to the channel, become a member. I believe that allows for things like ad-free content, access to super stickers and things like that. So just as a way of giving back, if you become a member of the channel, it's one of those things where I would definitely appreciate it. One of the things I have started doing as well is early access to videos. So when I have a video uploaded, whether it's a gameplay or podcast or anything like that, if you're a member to the channel, you will get that video first as soon as it's posted and ready to go. Versus having a scheduled post, whether it's a gameplay sometime in the future or the podcast where I might upload it, you know, today as the recording, but then I release it publicly tomorrow by the time it's ready. So members to the YouTube channel get it as soon as it's posted and ready, so you get it right off the bat, and then the public feed is, or the public video is whenever it's ready for public viewing. So membership definitely has its perks. I'm not changing anything to the point where, you know, members get a different video and the public subscribers get a different video. But as a thank you for subscribing, I'm giving early access to the content, so everybody gets the same thing. So it's kind of like everyone's on the same level playing field, but being a member has its advantage of getting content early as well. So that's up there already. I am still playing around with the shopping, the YouTube store functionality as far as merch for HeadphonesNeil reviews. So I'm still getting some of that stuff together. I'm trying a couple of the different platforms that are available, and the one that I like the best, I'll go with that one. So look out for that coming soon. I haven't had a chance to fully go through it, but I've been able to read through a lot of the basics of it. So it is or it will be something that everyone will be able to take advantage of as soon as it's ready, but I am still working on that. So in the show notes for that podcast and in the video version, there will be a link. So I mean, even though technically if you're on the YouTube channel watching the video, you can click the join button there anyways, but I would definitely appreciate the membership. And also if you're listening on the podcast version, the show notes will have a link to the channel, as always, to be able to easily subscribe to the channel as a regular member or a regular subscriber, or to become a member if you so choose. But that is all for this particular episode. So the website is HeadphonesNeil.reviews for all episodes, social media links, supporting links, and all of that good stuff. And the YouTube channel is youtube.com/PatelN01. But that is all for this particular episode. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.